Okay, we wait for a second, okay? Then we discuss the classes, maybe around 1 hour or more. So we for a second, okay? Then we discuss the classes, maybe around 1 hour or more. So we okay, let's begin the class. We already have 5 participants here. Oh, still counting. Okay. Ah, wait. Who's missing out there? Okay. So let's begin the class for today. This is the topic for today. International financial management. We will discuss about relationship between inflation, interest rates, and exchange rates. So we begin, okay? Oh, okay. Good day, everybody. Um, Good day, guys, from International Financial Management class. This is your lecture. My name is Anong. I will give you explanation about the PowerPoint for the International Financial Management class. I'm using the Jeff Medura 11 edition. And let's move to the next slide first. Then we discuss each one of these slides. Okay, so here is what we are going to discuss, the relationship among inflation, interest rates, and exchange rate. And also what we call as a chapter objective of this 8 chapters. For this chapter 8, we are going to discuss the purchasing power parity or triple P theory and its implication for exchange rates. And also we discuss the Fisher effect theory and how its implication to exchange rate, and how also the comparison between triple P, Fisher effect, and interest rate theory. Now, what is triple P? Triple P stands.
Sir,
Yep.
the voice is really far.
Okay, so that's the. It's kind of the voice is not. Wait a second. Let me check first the. Wait. How should I use this? Wait a second. Okay, and then. Hmm, no. This one. So wait for a second, okay? Let me check first for the voice. Wait.
How can you? Oops. Still have Nikita. Why you have two? Okay. Oops. Oh wait. I have a problem with this. I don't know how to use it. Wait. Mm-mm-mm. Can I just? Why is this on and off for Nikita? I don't know why.
Okay.
Mm. Oh, okay. So I have a new share here, the screen, the PowerPoint. So, okay. So this is what we are going to discuss. Can you hear me now? Wait, we are going to discuss the comparison between several indicators here. We are going to, you hear me, right? Everybody, can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Yep. And then we are going to discuss here the several thing about indicators. We have uh, triple P, we have IFE, we have IRP. So we have three. So wait a second. I have somebody in front of my room, in my home. Sorry. Just wait. Pakai masker mbak. Ah, the water boy is coming. Okay, let's move to the next slide. So we are. Oh, sorry.
Should we extend this?
That's for.
So this is
Okay, let me pause. I don't know why because my video is some kind like mixed with this PowerPoint, so it's kind of mixed with the PowerPoint. Okay, let's discuss this one first. Um, okay. Then we have an absolute triple P. This is the without international barriers that we already discussed last week about the products that have the same price for in the same countries. Okay, and we have also a relative triple P because we have a market imperfection because different price means that the product we have a different price in a different market, but the product is the same. So that's because maybe there is an inflation rate that is different. Maybe that's because the supply of the raw materials is quite different in price. So we have not a balanced triple P. Now, in these matters, in these subjects, today we will discuss the difference of interest rates and also the difference of interest rates and inflation rates to the interest rates parity, and also the purchasing power parity. So what's the relationship between inflation, interest rates, and foreign exchange? That's what we discussed today. So yeah, move on. Um, so what we call as a um, the rationality of triple P is about the exchange rates adjustment. So you have a adjust of exchange rates because um, the power of purchase one goods, even it's the same goods in different countries, is not the same. Means that you maybe have to buy a high iPhone is cheaper in Singapore than in Indonesia. That's for example, the same iPhone but different price. So if the purchasing power is not equal, then you will buy your iPhone in Singapore and then bring it to Indonesia. Okay, so the consumers will shift purchases to whatever products are cheaper. That's what you do. That's what you usually do. If you have friends go abroad and you say, "Hey, I want to buy an iPhone," and then they will buy you in the foreign countries because it's cheaper, because it's not include the tariff for import goods and so on. So here is the we already discussed this. We already discussed the relative inflation rates and exchange rates. This problems is very easy because you will have in exchange rate, sorry, inflation rates. Home means in your home. Which currency you want to use as a home currency, it's up to you. It's not because we are Indonesian, we are using in Indonesian rupiah. No, it's up to what position you have now. And the inflation rates for foreign is here. So in this case, it's a simple explanation that you have a high increase in interest rates, sorry, inflation rates for home, then suddenly you have an increase in exchange rates. Okay, your means increase in exchange rates for our as a nation will means that because we are using the direct quotation, we will have appreciation in US dollars and depreciation in Indonesian rupiah. Okay, because our IH is higher, means that we have higher inflation rates than US dollars, then the exchange rate is higher. In this case, means that the dollar is appreciates and the rupiah is depreciates. Now, with the with this simple explanation of purchasing power parity, we know that the exchange rate movement is different because every countries have different inflation rates. Higher inflation rates in your countries means that you will have a higher exchange rate. If this is a direct quotation, then you will have a higher price of dollar rather than and a lower price of rupiah. Okay, so that's what we discuss here in a very simplified of triple P. Let's move on to the next slide. Okay, in the next slide, we will discuss the relative form, what we call as a differentials. This is what I already discussed. Uh, the differential of rates. The differential of rate will give you a very different inflation rates affect to the exchange rate. Inflation rates differential affect the exchange rate. You see now why Trump has decreased the Federal Reserve rates to almost a zero. Means that their inflation rates is decreased in US and our inflation rates is about 4%. Now, with this higher inflation rates than US, our money, Indonesian rupiah, depreciates. Just like what we learned from slide 5. A higher home inflation rate means your money is depreciates and the counterpart in this case is USD is appreciates. Now let's move here. to the scenario. We have this kind of scenario. Now this scenario is different, okay? If you have a higher inflation rate, this scenario is for indirect quotation, not a direct quotation. For direct quotation, you will have different. So you will have rupiah, rupiah versus US dollar. Ah, with rupiah per US dollars means that we as a nation, we value our money based on 1 unit of US dollars. Okay, just remember in your mind that we as a nation value our rupiah based on 1 unit of US dollars. That's why it's per US dollars. So if you have now is 16,000 per US dollars means that the value of dollars, 1 unit of dollars in Indonesia is 16,000. 1 unit of US dollars is 16,000. That's direct quotation. If you have a relatively high local inflation, now it's the same as us. We have a higher local inflation. So what's happened is we have a decreasing rates or depreciation of rupiah and appreciation of US dollars. That's what the triple P said. With our money less worth than US dollars means that if you going to import goods from US, you have to pay more. Okay, you have to pay more because US dollar increase in value to US dollars. Now that's why it is now. Let me tell you once again that this scenario 1, 2, 3 is based on the indirect quotation. That's why this all of this decrease. Now that's the meaning of this. Now the import from, let's say we have import. If you import goods from US dollars from US, then your money is worth less. Then you need more money to import 1 unit of goods from US. So importers will say, Indonesian importers will say, no, I don't want to. Then I will decrease the value of my import value. So that's why the import values will decrease. Um, Vice versa, it's export. Now, if you are exporters, you export goods, then you will receive a US dollars as the payment, okay? If you receive a US dollars in payment, then now the US dollars is increased, meaning that you have more money, okay? More money means that you will have more goods and your import will increase. And for this, let's say for rain that doing this deal with our importers will say that, hey, now my money in US dollars is valued more. That's why I can buy more products from Indonesia. So they will buy more products from Indonesia, the exporter will sell more products, and then the export will increase. Now that's the problem. Now the local currency should depreciate. Yeah, this is the same. The local currency will depreciate, and the foreign currency is appreciates. The second scenario is also the same, but with a different setup. Okay, now it's your turn to give me uh, an explanation um, in a piece of paper that you should write down after this class. You have to explain the scenario 2 in a piece of paper, just like I explained to you uh, in scenario 1. Okay, you should explain to me. This is assignment. Oops, I can write it. Oh, I'm using mouse. Ay, 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 ay. This is the assignment. So submit it to me through my emails. Um, not, let's say the deadline is on 9 p.m. or 21 yeah, from now. So 9 p.m. 9 p.m. today. Okay. Just explain this scenario two. How you explain the scenario two. Okay, if the scenario three, you don't have to explain it. I will explain it to you. This is a very simple one. So you have a similar inflation rate for local and foreign. So there is no impact. And the local currency's value is the same as the value of the inflation rate. Okay, let's move on. And this is already, what you call it? We already, um, oh, we already record this. So we use this as a recording version. Okay. Now move on to this slide. We have a triple P, and you should be able to assess the potential impact of inflation to exchange rates. Okay, the same as what we already discussed. And this is the triple P line. Okay, let's explain the triple P line. Now, this is the triple P line. We have A here, we have B here. Now, what does it mean? So you have a delta change in foreign currency spot rate. Okay, we have a change in currency spot rate. The higher currency spot rate, then your money is lower. Okay, so this is the value. If you have a higher inflation rate than foreign, then the money of these investors, sorry, the value of the foreign currency is increased, this side, the A side, and then the value of, if the inflation rate in our countries decrease and the inflation rate in foreign is increased, then you will have uh, appreciation of your money, but the depreciation of foreign currency. Now, this is the illustration of purchasing power, but we have a problem. Now, this is a problem. Hey, life is full of problems, okay? If you have a point C, for example, this is the situation that the home inflation exceed the foreign inflation by 4%. But yet, the foreign currency appreciate only 1%. Now we have a disparity. So the home inflation, the difference between home inflation and foreign inflation is not the same with the appreciation of the currency. Ah, so we move on to the next slide. Yeah, okay. This is the C. This is what the disparity means. If you have like this, suddenly you will have a 4% delta of inflation rates, but the currency, the currency is only moved for about 1% here. The money move only 1%. The problem is you will have an increased purchasing power for foreign goods. So the foreign good will increase more. You will have an export, higher export. Once again, this is explained in this slide is for indirect, but because we are using the direct quotation, it's quite different. Okay, the differences is you will have, if you have a C, you will have uh, an increase in purchase power of foreign goods. This is not the same. This is should be decreased. Okay, should be decreased because import will have to decrease. I cannot do it. Sorry. This is import is decreased. Okay, the import goods is decreased. So why it's decreased? Yeah, because it's import. You need more money to buy products from other countries. That's what I explained in scenario one. Okay, so your job is for scenario two. The same problems happen if you have a -4% in inflation differential. Then you have D here because this D you only move about 2% in purchasing power or in foreign exchange. This is also the same for in the direct quotation. This is an increase. Yeah. I make sure that I can write it. Okay, that's an increase. You see, an increase in purchasing power of foreign goods means that you will buy more products, import more goods, because now your money is valued more than foreign money, foreign currency. So you increase. This is for scenario two, my explanation here. You will have to discuss that on the explanation too. Now, what is the simple or result for this forecast? So in real world, you can forecast. You can forecast the triple P using a statistical forecast, or you can just do a forecast with just, let's say you have to use the the equation of triple P and explain the triple P, the in foreign exchange, and the inflation rates. The explanation of these three components based on these chapters is based on the equation that I already mentioned you earlier in what fourth or fifth slides. Okay, the EF, or the purchasing power equation. That's the relationship between inflation, foreign exchange, and purchasing power. Now, this is the same in Canada, um, in US. The power of exchange rates movement between four major countries. We can use this for Indonesia as well. So let's move on to the limitation. Now, if you have a limitation, this is the limitation for triple P test. The triple P have to evaluate in comparison to several indicators. So we have a subsequent periods. You need to have a high, a long periods, or not. Let's say you need um, a period of time that shows you not fluctuative inflation rates. You should have a normal inflation rates, for example. For today's, if you are using the data now, let's say the range between the coronavirus effect, okay, then you will have a very bad calculation in triple P. Why? Because now inflation rates, now the interest rates, and now the foreign exchange, it's moved like crazy. It's moved like this. There is no such thing as um, an equilibrium on it. So if you are using the data now, when the coronavirus attack, then you will come up with something not very good in triple P test. That's the problem of triple P. You should have a good, let's say, a reliable period of analysis. Now that's what we call as a confounding effect. The name is confounding effect. You have an effect of government controls. There's a several effect from government, from consumption, that makes you have a difference E here. Now you should see my explanation for in my IGTV um, about the effect of coronavirus to business. I explained that about the confounding effect. I explained that about the stimulus, fiscal stimuli from the government. I explained there about the tax rate decrease from the government. I explained about the how the government give money to poor persons or in a rural area to make the business work and so on. The second problem is if you have you don't have any substitute for traded goods. So this is the problem now. You cannot stop import something because your countries cannot build or manufacture these products. You should buy it from someone else. So that's why we have import good. That's why we have no substitute for import. Now, what is the Fisher effect? The Fisher effect explained about the nominal rate of exchange rate. Okay, there are two components. First is the expected inflation. The second is the real interest rates. You have an expectation of the inflation rate. The second one, you have a real interest rates. Now, this is important for you about Fisher. The real rate of interest represent the return on the investment to savers after accounting for expected inflation. So you will have the real rate of interest that represent the return on the investment. So what is the real rate of interest? Now, the problems of real rate of interest is here. Wait, okay. If you are using the Fisher effect to predict the exchange rate movement, the first step you do, you have to expect the inflation rates between two countries. Remember, two countries because you have a differentials in countries or between countries. That's what the triple P told you, okay? The triple P told you, just remember the second and third slide, I guess, that if you have a differential inflation rates, then you have a differentials in the foreign exchange. So the Fisher effect also do the same. They have the same assumption, the same calculation, a little bit the same. So the Fisher effect will suggest the nominal rates, okay? The nominal rates interest of two countries differ from the difference in expected inflation between two countries. If we are talking about expected inflation, then you are talking about the future. You have to predict the future of inflation rates between two countries. Now the problem is you have to predict, okay? If you can predict the future of these interest rates, then you know the value of the foreign exchange rates. Now with triple P, we can estimate the exchange rates movement. Now how you will use that? If you can predict the inflation rates, that's why people in economics will do. They will try to predict the inflation rates. If you can predict the inflation rates, you know for sure the foreign exchange will be. You know for sure the interest rate will be. So it's quite a very sacred numbers. Inflation, a very sacred numbers. Now this is the Fisher will try to suggest that the currency with high interest rate will have high expected inflation. Yeah, that's true due to Fisher effect. And relatively high inflation will cause the currency to depreciate. That's what the triple P said. If you have a higher inflation rate, your currency will depreciate. For foreign investor is the same. If you are foreign investors and you have a higher inflation rate in US, then the US currency is decreased based on your own currency. The foreign investors will say that, oh, I have more money now than per unit in US dollars. What happened here is an implication of two non-US currencies. So let's discuss the two non-US currencies. So let's discuss Japan and Canada. Okay, for this attempt to invest in Japan for US dollars. Okay, this one, the United States. 3 minus 6 is minus 3. The expected rate change in currency needed by investors is -3. The nominal interest rate to be earned is 8%. Return to investment after considering exchange rate adjustment is 5%. Inflation anticipated in home. What is home? The home is Japan. Yeah, because the investor is resided in Japan. And the real interest rates earned is only 2. Why? Yeah, you got the nominal rates and you get the inflation rate anticipated is 3. You have return on investment is 5. 5 minus 3. Then you will get, oops, 2. You will get 2. This is the same. You will get the same. This is minus, 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 minus. Then this is the same, same. This is equal to, and then so on. So if you are, let's say you are Canadian, the Canadian you invest in US. The Canadian is 11 minus 6 for US, we got 5. So the expected percentage change is 5 for US, for Canadian persons, and the nominal rate earned is 8%. Then what is the inflation, or sorry, the return on investors needs? It's 13%. Yeah, of course it's 13% because it's plus, it's plus, it's plus. So you plus it, you plus it, you plus it. Okay, you get, then you plus this, then you get 13% here because the expected percentage change is 5, the nominal interest rate is 8, then your return on investors is about 13. That's the minimum. The inflation rate, however, is 11, then your money is worth only 2. That's what the Canadian do. That's what Canadian do when they invest in United States. What the Canadian do if they invest in Japan is the same like this. Is this, this one. Okay. Now this is the simplified that we already discussed. This is the scenario. Okay. Remember, for direct, this is for indirect quotation. For direct quotation, you just have to change it. This is increase, this is decrease, increase, and then so on. This is the same. Now, the problems here is today we will discuss the you already have your assignment for scenario. Okay. Now the same is the scenario is the same. You also have to write down in a piece of paper what I already discussed here. This one. Now it's your job to do for scenario 1 and scenario 2. You don't have to do the scenario 3, it's the same. So using the International Fisher Effect Theory submitted to me on 9 p.m. today, the same as scenario 2 on the triple P. Okay. I will not give you the quiz for today. You don't have to do the quiz, but for your midterm test. Now, for the midterm test, you will have a quiz or a test, online test using quizzes. And with these quizzes, the schedule is the same with your test in class, or with Miss Bibit already said to you, or you get from Miss Ayu. You will get the schedule for midterm tests, and then that midterm test is have um, a time when to do it. Okay, and this is the same time. The quiz is with the same time. That's why we call those a live quiz. Do a live quiz for the midterm test. Okay, that's for today's lesson. Do you have any question? Just give me Um, you just raise your hand if you have any question. No question? Oh, good. You do your work. Um, let's say that we will have where's the yeah, 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 I forgot. Where's the mm, ah, okay. Don't you have any question for me or just for the test? Just let's say you have to submit it. Okay, submit to me on the midterm test. Sorry, submit to me now for this assignment 9 p.m. this 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 night tonight 9 p.m. tonight. If you have any question, just give me a call on my WhatsApp. You already know my WhatsApp. You already know my line. Okay. So I believe that you can do your work from home. Just stay at home, do your job, do your work, and then we will meet again. I will tell Miss Ayu about the test. Just remember the test is on the schedule of the midterm test. Okay, then okay, if you do have any question, I'll see you and just do the assignment first, okay? Bye bye. Have a nice day and stay at home.